Hey Pokemon Masters, my name is Toby and thank you for clicking on my video, and hey, I hope you're looking after yourself, I hope you're keeping safe, well, positive, optimistic. Maybe this video will cheer you up, because today we're going to talk about some naughty things. Talk about Ditto, and how incredible is this Pokemon? It can breed with basically every Pokemon, apart from those in the undiscovered egg group. That's pretty nuts. I'm sorry, I'm just vocally clickbaiting you. This video is not going to be as mature as you might expect. This is a wholesome, family-friendly Pokemon YouTube channel. That said, we got to talk about Ditto's breeding, because what is going on with that? It is weird. Ditto can breed with every single Pokemon that isn't a legendary or a baby or one of the new Galarian fossils. We'll get to that. And this might sound familiar to you, and it's because, yeah, this is one of those videos where I look back at an older Pokemon theory that I've already done and talk about how it holds up today. Is it still relevant, given that we're like 2 generations on from this video? Is there more new evidence? Spoiler, there is. And yeah, how does it hold up? And if you like this kind of video, again, please, just any of you, leave a comment, leave a little like, or dislike, whatever you like. It helps with the whole YouTube algorithm, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill, you're all lovely. I appreciate it, thank you very much, and yeah, let's jump into the theory. Okay, Ditto, you are a weird one. Pretty much everyone has a Ditto in the daycare at all time. Probably a different language Ditto to what is native on their console, because everyone just wants the most chance of getting a shiny, and let's face it, Ditto is great to have in the daycare, because you can breed any Pokemon with it and get any Pokemon egg. Pretty cool. And how does it do this? I mean, most people just assume that it transforms into the other gender of the Pokemon that's in the daycare with it, but that doesn't make sense. After all, this wouldn't explain how genderless Pokemon breed. After all, genderless Pokemon must breed. They exist in the wild of Pokemon. So why would being in a daycare with a Ditto make any difference whatsoever? Seriously, what is going on with that? And why can't a Ditto breed with another Ditto? That's weird, right? How does Ditto even reproduce? Well, I've done a theory recently exactly about how Pokemon in general reproduce, and it's probably worth checking that out because I think it will help provide even more context to this Pokemon theory. The general idea is, though, that it doesn't happen in the same way that it happens here in the real world. Pokemon breeding is simply a very different process, and when it comes to Ditto here, I'm gonna put this down now. I'm gonna Munchlax, you're gonna go there. And in addition, Ditto doesn't really work like that. When in battle, Ditto turns into an exact copy, a clone of the opposing Pokemon. It's still Ditto, and it still has Ditto-like traits. For example, the PP, the amount of moves that it can use, are limited. So it's not a 100% clone, and the Pokemon is still Ditto and will revert back after using Transform, but generally speaking, Ditto is cloning the opposite Pokemon, not becoming similar and then swapping gender. And for example, let's take a Pokemon that can only be female, like Vespiquen. You can't leave Ditto in the daycare and it transform into a male Vespiquen because there's no such thing. And it's not transforming into some other bug Pokemon that would be able to breed with Vespiquen, it's just turning into a female Vespiquen. Ditto clones the Pokemon that it's with. That's what Ditto is all about. It's an amalgamation of cells ready to transform into whatever it's looking at. So how does this factor into Pokemon breeding? Well, my theory back in the day is that what it's doing is that it's not necessarily transforming into the Pokemon that it's in with the daycare or even directly breeding with it, but rather Ditto is becoming a sort of biological cloning machine. The Ditto is there in the daycare and it looks at the Vespiquen and it goes, well, hello there, beautiful, analyzing, scanning data. And what Ditto does, rather than transforming into the Vespiquen, instead it creates a Pokemon egg with an exact copy of that Pokemon's DNA and info. Except, what's this? Because Ditto is a biological cloning machine and not a mechanical one, it adds a bits of its own DNA, a little bit of its own biology is put into the mix as well. And that's why the baby Combee that hatches out of the egg is going to have traits of both the Vespiquen and the Ditto. Specifically, I'm referring to like IVs and that kind of thing. Okay, does this theory hold up? I mean, what was the supporting evidence for this? I mean, number 1, for example, is the undiscovered egg group, the Pokemon that Ditto can't breed with. And actually, first of all, I suppose we should mention Ditto. Ditto can't breed with itself, and that's because when it looks at another Ditto, it sees a kind of blob of cells. It's not able to make sense of it. It's kind of the curse of a Ditto, is it can't reproduce with another Ditto, certainly not in the daycare, not in that way, not by cloning. It probably reproduces in the same way that other Pokemon reproduce, which is, again, I've covered that video in a theory very, very recently. So again, when it's looking to become a cloning machine, it looks at a Ditto and it's confused by the cells. Very very similarly, it can't breed with legendary Pokemon. And this may be because legendary Pokemon's DNA is far too complicated to be able to copy. It's just like these Pokemon are very unique and their structure is probably very, very complicated. The only exception to that is Manaphy, a legendary Pokemon that Ditto can breed with, and even then, it gets it wrong. Phione is kind of like Manaphy, but it's not quite. That's why Phione doesn't evolve into Manaphy. Phione is not the pre-evolution of Manaphy, but rather Phione is just like a failed attempt at cloning it. The other Pokemon that Ditto can't breed with, of course, are baby Pokemon, and that makes sense, because in the real world, in order to clone something, which we've done, we've cloned things, you have to take a mature cell, or a mature somatic cell. And baby Pokemon are not mature. They haven't lived a long time yet, their cells aren't fully grown, and that's why a Ditto simply can't breed with them. The other Pokemon that Ditto can't breed with is Nidorina and Nidoqueen. For some reason, these Pokemon have always been in the undiscovered egg group, and that's always confused me a little bit. I have done a Pokemon theory on why Nidoqueen can't breed, and I think I have it understood. And the idea is, in that theory, and this is a total side tangent and doesn't affect this theory, is that Nidorina and Nidoqueen are clones. They're failed clones of Nidorino and Nidoking. And the idea is at that point, the DNA is already too diluted, so you can't clone a clone. It's just the DNA is we're too many rungs down the line. That might not hold up, and if you want to know more about that theory and why exactly I think Nidoqueen might be a clone, you can check out that video. But then, how does this hold up with Sword and Shield? Well, again, out of the new Pokemon that Ditto can't breed with, we're looking at Eternatus, Zacian, Zamazenta, all legendary Pokemon with very complicated DNA. They are the stuff of myth and legend. And the only other exception is the 4 new fossil Pokemon. And these fossil Pokemon, Arctovish, Arctozolt, Dracovish, Dracozolt. Yeah, I think that's it. I couldn't really tell you which ones are which. I do not like these Pokemon designs. But these 4 Pokemon are not 4 Pokemon at all. I mean, they are, if you like deconstruct them and put the DNA together properly, you would end up with 4 Pokemon, but they're abominations, each made of 2 different fossil Pokemon. So much like the legendary Pokemon, the DNA is too complicated. Ditto, despite being able to breed with every other fossil Pokemon throughout the franchise, looks at these Pokemon and goes, what? It can't make sense of them. So actually, I think the theory is further supported with Sword and Shield. So there you go. In my opinion, Ditto is essentially a cloning machine in the daycare. It's not breeding with Pokemon the conventional way that Pokemon breed, which again, I've done that theory as well as the Nidoqueen one. You can check them out. I'll leave links below. You're all good. You got me. Pokemon breeding is a mystery, and Ditto in particular, you're a weird one. But I think it's a pretty reasonable explanation. I like this Pokemon theory. Does it hold up? Yeah, I think it does. I think it's even supported by new evidence. Heck yeah! But anyway, let me know what you think of this theory in the comments down below. Of course, if you want to check out more of my Pokemon theories, they are always linked in the description. So yeah, go check them out, see some stuff, enjoy some Pokemon content. You're all absolutely lovely. I'll see you in the comments section. And of course, so hi Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.
Thank you so much to those of you supporting the channel using Patreon, including the big patron of this month, Gunnar Clovis. Thank you.